Hi everybody, it's Casey. In today's video, I am going to be going over how I made Mitsuri from Demon Slayer. This whole outfit is thrifted. Yes, you heard me right, it is all thrifted. The only things I made from scratch was this kimono and also the socks as well. You'll be pretty surprised what I made the socks out of. I'm pretty proud of myself for these because it was definitely a challenge for sure of thinking of like what to do. If you want to check out my wig tutorial, there is going to be a linky-doo up here. I definitely recommend checking it out. I'm super proud of it. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump into the video. So I got this skirt from Goodwill and I paid only $4 for this. The only sad part is that it was way too tight. So I went ahead and I took the zipper out, got rid of all those like stupid little thread thingies, and I put that aside because we're going to be using that for later. So once the zipper was out, I then cut the top portion out just so it can fit me. I needed like maybe 5 or 6 inches, so this was actually pretty cool. And also the skirt was very long, so I definitely had some material to work with. I then took the bottom and I took maybe 1 or 2 inches just to make it a little bit shorter. And then I'm gonna take that piece that I'm taking off the end and I'm gonna make it as a waistband, which you will see in a second. I also want to apologize for the lack of quality in this video. My camera did not know how to pick up on the color of the skirt and also try to like match like my pasty skin, so it had a hard time trying to figure out like what to focus on. So yeah, sorry about that. So what I am doing now is I am taking my iron and I am doing the bottom hem of the skirt. I like to do the hem before I really do anything else, just so everything is straight and you know, all that kind of fun stuff. Also, a hot ruler is probably one of my favorite things ever to use. It has changed my life enormously. So here's what it looks like. Ooh, nice clean hem. Once I got everything, I am now sewing the hem. I actually have a piece of tape on my sewing machine, so I knew exactly where to sew. You can technically do a blind stitch, but I haven't learned that yet, and I am way too lazy to learn, and I'm just like, yeah, I'll just put a tape on my sewing machine and just do it. So now what I am doing is I am re-ironing all the pleats. This is so great because it's basically already pleated, I just have to re-iron it. And then once I did that, I also sewed the pleats down just a bit. And then what I'm doing right here is I am comparing like the size of the pleat. So I'm sewing and I'm also comparing it to the other one that I did before, just so they match and they look equal. I am now taking the piece that was on the bottom of the skirt and I am ironing it so it can be the belt for the skirt. Once I was done ironing the belt, I then placed the belt over the skirt, so each side was on the skirt. I know that's kind of like hard to explain, but like you can kind of see I'm like folding and tucking the belt in between the skirt, so both sides of the belt were on the skirt. I don't know how to explain that, but I hope this visual helped. Once everything was in place, I then sewed the belt onto the skirt. And then I just reattached the zipper to the skirt. So once I was done with the skirt, I then moved on to the white shirt. So I got this white shirt from the thrift store for only $5. Technically I could like find this in my closet, but since this is a thrifting video, I wanted to show everyone that you can get all these things from the thrift store. So once I figured out what I wanted to do with the shirt, I took the buttons out, just using a little seam ripper. I only took out the top 3 ones since, you know, Mitsuri doesn't need the top 3 buttons. And that's pretty much how it looks. I just folded it in and sewed the top and then sewed the sides, and that was pretty much it. The next part was the black shirt, and that one I got for $5 as well. It was pretty much the same process, me just trying to figure out like how to tailor it and bring it in and stuff. So the first thing I did was take the collar off because we have a plan for this one. Once the collar was off, I then folded it in half just so I can make sure that it gave a nice square look. We didn't want it to make it look like a popped up collar, so I just made sure that it looked pretty square because this is going to be the stand-up collar on the black shirt. Then what I did is I took some remaining bias tape from a past project and I just put it around the edge of the collar. And after that, I made sure that I made the collar stand straight up. So I kind of had to like mess around with it and see what would be the best way to do this. And I found this was the best way. And I just sewed across there, and yeah, that was pretty much it for the collar. Then I found some gold buttons laying around and I put that on the collar. Well, not the collar, Casey, the shirt. And then I took some white scrap material for the pocket and I just put it over. Make sure that you cut the pocket a little bit just so you can get the white part of it. And then I took my handy dandy silhouette machine and I'm making the logo for the back. I made the logo in Photoshop and yeah, but I mean, you can technically do this like hand cutting. It's just gonna take a while. But yeah, I love my silhouette machine. I don't know what I would do without it. And also this is such a satisfying part of like doing vinyl. Yeah, looks good. And then I just kind of got my iron and put it on. I know people have like those fancy like hot presses and stuff, but I'm not that fancy. Even though I have a cutting machine, I don't have the fancy hot press yet. And we just peel that away. Make sure you peel slowly just so, you know, if something comes up, you can just quickly iron it again. And bam, the black shirt is all done. Now we're gonna move on to the kimono part. We are using my favorite materials, which is curtains. We have seen this in my past videos where I use curtains for cosplays, and I'm telling you, they are just so amazing. Don't knock it till you try it. They're super affordable because I got these curtains for only $5. So the orange fabric you are seeing now is actually my test fabric. I always test my fabric out before I do the final cut. It is super important to definitely test out your materials and test out the pattern before you go out and ruin your $4 curtains. $5 curtains? No. Yeah, $5 curtains, not $4, Casey. But you can definitely use a kimono pattern that you can find at your local fabric store. Like I said, I pretty much self-draft all my pieces, or I just have patterns laying around and I just, oh yeah, let me just mess with this. So now I am taking my pieces and I'm putting them together so I can sew them. And then I sewed the kimono and that's pretty much it. Next we are moving on to the socks. I am using this green sweater that I got for $5 at my thrift store, and I'm cutting out the sleeves. And what I am doing now is I am making sure that it's all straight, so taking my ruler and just cutting it out just so there's a nice clean line at the top. And then I am using this other sweater that I got for $5 to have that top portion of the sock where it's blue. So I'm cutting out that sleeve and pretty much doing the same thing that I did for the green sweater as well. So this is where it definitely gets fun. I took the remaining sweater and I used that for the sock portion of the sock. I guess you can call it like the foot portion. This purple pattern that you see, I basically took some duct tape around my foot and I created a pattern for myself because I did not want a sock line on the top part. I wanted it on the bottom part. So you're gonna kind of see the process. I'm not gonna lie, it was a little bit complicated, but I mean, I made it work. It looked good. So now I am cutting out my sock portion of the piece. I promise you it's gonna look really cool once it's all done, but it looks really confusing now. So I also tested out on my machine that this kind of material, the sweater material, it just, like, my sewing machine just ate it. It couldn't handle it. So I had to take some scrap material and have it on the bottom. So now I am taking the leg part of the sock and the sock part, and I'm using a zigzag stitch to stitch it together. Now, I was honestly thinking of so many ways to do the stripes on the sock, and of course I had to choose the alternative that required the most work. And it looks good at the end, but I could have totally picked something else. So I am creating a outline for when I put this on the sewing machine. So I basically used a stitch on the sewing machine, and I just pretty much sewed over the black lines to kind of create this like thread look. It looks really cool, but it took forever. So then I tried it on my leg and I found out, oh hey, the stretchiness of the green material does not match the stretchiness of the green material on top of the sock. So I had to go in and cut all my hard work on the green part of the sock in order for it to stretch. So see, there we go. And then I took the sock and I am pinning it on the back, I guess, the back seam. And I'm gonna do a double stitch on that as well. And see, this is where it's gonna totally make sense why I did the sock the way I did. And I did the seam on the bottom of the foot. So see there, that's the bottom of my foot. And I'm just gonna pin around it on the top. And I sewed that, and then I took the blue part and I flipped it inside out and attached it to the sock, and yeah, we're gonna now see it on the sewing machine in a second. Whee! Make sure when you're sewing this that you kind of stretch this as you go, just so it can reach its full stretchiness potential. And we're pretty much done with the socks. Now we are moving on to the shoes. I got these shoes from the dollar store. You can guess it, they're $1. So I actually had some scrap material saved from my Princess Peach cosplay. So yeah, always save your scrap material. You never know what you're gonna be using it for. And then I used my handy dandy hot glue gun and I pretty much wrapped it around the shoe and then just created a little back strap for the shoe. And bam, we are all done. Thank you so much for watching this. So the whole cosplay cost $30. I am pretty proud of that since the one on Amazon is like 60 bucks. So we pretty much made this for half off. Pretty good. Yeah, so don't forget to give this a like and subscribe and leave down in the comments below what character you want to see next. I definitely want to continue this series, so definitely give me some suggestions. And I will see you guys very soon. Thank you again so much for watching. Bye!